All set, David?
We're good to go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our regular session, August 12th. I will call the meeting to order at 5:15. On this end, we will rise, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mike is not with us. We are fortunate to have Kim Kinbone with us, the deputy, so we're in very good hands. Kim, would you please conduct a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Castine?
Present.
Mr. Conroy?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Henry?
Here.
Mr. Miguel?
Present.
Mr. Courier?
Here.
Mr. Potiker?
Here.
Mr. Rosenquist?
Here.
Mr. Timmons?
Here.
And Ms. Waldron?
You're on mute, Patty.
You might have froze.
We'll count her anyways. We can see her. Okay. Thank you. We're fortunate tonight. We have our assemblyman with us tonight, Billy Jones. Billy's hopped on for to talk to us for 5 minutes or so about things that are going on in his area, in our area. I'm sure he will be happy to answer any questions that any of you might have. So, with no further ado, our friend Assemblyman Billy Jones. Billy.
Hey, Mr. Chair, it's an honor to be here with all of you, and you didn't tell me this was going to be a question and answer thing, so I'll remember that at the public comment part of the meeting. Anyway, it's great to be with you. I'll just give you a rundown of what my office and what I've been up to. It's all of you have been going through the same thing since this started back in March. At first, we were dealing with a lot of the closures, the business closings. There was a lot of questions around that, and then we got into the unemployment phase of it, and people were really scrambling to try to get unemployment. I dare say that was probably, well, I know it was probably the busiest my office has ever been, dealing with people calling, trying to get unemployment through March, through April. We were running into May where they hadn't received answers from DOL, hadn't even received a call back from DOL. So people were going without anything for 7-8 weeks. I think we had a couple of them that were going on to 3 months without unemployment. So we worked very hard on that, and I commend my staff for doing that. We are not the Department of Labor, but we did everything we could to get them help and get the connections that they needed. It's been rather hectic. Every day we come up with something new, a new challenge. As you all know, there are a lot of questions out there. I think it's gotten a little better, but with that being said, we still have businesses that aren't able to open. They're calling every day. We're inquiring in to try to get guidelines. As you know, Mark, you hear these questions every day as well in your chat room or in your control room. You deal with it as well. I think the biggest challenge, and I think I heard some people talking about it. Right now, we are going back into school, reopening, and that I believe that is going to be our biggest challenge yet. I know certainly there are some businesses that are still not able to open their doors, and to them, of course, that's a daily nightmare that they're going through. But this school thing is it's going to be a challenge for everyone involved, parents, educators, administrators, really the whole community, because there's some parents that want to go full bore, 5 days a week, no questions asked, let's get in there. There's some parents that don't want to have their children in school at all. There's some that want the hybrid model, a couple of days on, a couple of days remote learning. So it's certainly we're hearing a lot of those concerns. We've met with superintendents, educators, teachers, parents. We're just trying to get some clear guidance in between DOH, the Department of Education, and the governor. It's sometimes those lines of communication aren't the best, and we need to get those. We need, as leaders here, we need to get those answers for people, and it's been rather difficult. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Sometimes there's different guidelines out there, and we try to go back to get a straight answer, and quite frankly, we're not getting some of those answers. But I'm confident that our school districts are working as hard as they are, or as they possibly can, to put our kids back in school in a safe manner. I really am. I have 17 school districts in my district alone, and they are working extremely hard at this, and they're getting frustrated as well. But and also, I think the lasting impact, and I'll get into a few other things. The lasting impact here is, as far as one of the things you're concerned about, sales tax implications. I think the Canadian border closure is going to have an impact on us for quite some time. I'm on calls. I was actually in a couple of conferences this week with our counterparts to the north. My counterparts to the north, I should say, members of the Quebec National Assembly and different people from Ontario and Newfoundland. The feeling is that there's no hurry on the federal administration's parts, both sides, to open up the border. But to us, this is a big concern. It really is. Many of you on the meeting here have businesses, or you hear from businesses that are affected by this. We have campgrounds, we have marinas, we have many businesses, our retail stores, and obviously our manufacturing. A large part of that is due to our friends and neighbors to the north, or businesses are due to them visiting down here, and we don't have that. And that, I'm just afraid of the lasting impact of that down the road, even after we get through this and the border opens up. So there's certainly, that is a concern to all of us here in this meeting, and quite frankly the businesses. We're hearing from marinas and campgrounds that have 10% of their capacity. Think of that, 10% of their capacity. That means 90% of their business is from Canadians coming down here. So that's a biggie. And another thing, as far as you're concerned, is you're trying to do your budget right now. I'd imagine we're into August, so you're looking for answers from the state, from DOB as well, on what you can what you can expect. And I wish I had better answers for you as far as that is. No matter what happens with the feds coming up here, we're going to get back into session to decide a few of those things. The decisions will be a lot better, or a lot easier. They're not going to be easy anyway, but a lot easier if the feds come through with from some state and local aid. And I know everybody on this, or all the legislators and everybody in this meeting is pushing. I want to thank all of you for your support on that, because we know that, and I know Mark helped organize that press conference a couple of weeks ago to help push that agenda along. We're still not getting a lot of answers on that, but we're going to have to go back into session either way. If we get it, like I said, it's going to be a little easier. If we don't get it, there's going to be some tough decisions to be made. We're going to try to counteract some of those cuts that come down from the governor's office, but it's going to be difficult. Aid to localities, probably, we're hearing 20%. And then some days we hear, numbers higher than that. So going to be some tough choices to make. We definitely need some federal stimulus. I'll put in another plug for that, as I do every day, and as I'm sure a lot of you do every day. We need that. Without a federal stimulus package that includes state aid and aid to localities and municipalities, we're all in a lot of trouble here. There's no other way to put it. But that's just a quick rundown. Mark, you said you had a few questions. I'll try to answer them. And but each and every one of you, I hope, have my contact information, and certainly my door is always open to answer any questions that you may have. And I don't guarantee that I know all the answers to the questions, but we certainly try to get you those answers and or help out with any problems you have.
Thanks, Billy. Yes, you're absolutely right. We are facing those challenges, and the Canadian border is huge, and obviously the help to the business communities. And to piggyback off on that, and what you said earlier, is it seems that folks are starting to look, I guess once again, to maybe incentivize businesses to hire and expand, even during these challenging times. And we're all hoping things will get better. And by businesses, I mean the businesses on Main Street or manufacturing or transportation, whatever. And with that, the workforce development, if they do hire, they need obviously trained workers. So I'm wondering if there's anything that you see that's out there or on the horizon to incentivize businesses to hire and expand, and also on the workforce development part, if there's anything to incentivize a training, like our community colleges are important to us.
Sure.
Is there anything to incentivize, help community colleges to train the workforce that hopefully will soon be needed?
Sure, and I think there are. I think we were pre-COVID. We were going down the path. We knew pre-COVID that that our businesses needed workers. Quite frankly, in our area, which was a good thing. But now, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. You and I were at an event probably a little over a month ago with Empire State College, where they partnered up with Clinton Community as well, and I think that program is going to be a great program. We were working. I will say workforce development. I have been semi-happy with what we've been able to do to continue their funding. A few times they've had hiccups with their funding, and we pushed DOB to help them out with that funding. And quite frankly, I don't want to be, rude about this comment, but the businesses need the workers to come back to work for sure. And I think as you see that federal stimulus or that federal money, that $600 a week go away, it will incentivize people to go to work. And I'm not trying to, cover that up at all. They're still trying to get some kind of package together to help those people that can't get back to work for sure. But we're hearing a lot from the businesses as well, that they need people to get back to work, quite frankly. And I'm not saying that we should cut down their money. I know we have 10 different stories going on right now with whether the executive order that the president signed is good or it's going into it. I don't want to get into the politics of that. Are people going to get that $400 a week? Are people going to, is there going to be some kind of negotiation to level out that money? We don't know. That's all part of a stimulus package, and we're all waiting for that. But the question being, when businesses start getting back, we certainly need a trained workforce, and we were dealing with this long before COVID in this area. So I think programs like that, I think Clinton Community College, which I thank you all for supporting so much. You're huge supporters of that college, of that gem we have here. I think we can continue to help them with workforce development as well. And we were working on some training programs to help them and to incentivize people to get trained in those certain fields. But with that, it all goes back to having a little bit of this to help spring those programs along and to help them, and we certainly are continuing to do that. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it all depends on what we see coming down in the next couple of weeks here with the feds.
Yeah, it's that direct federal aid that we keep talking about. It's going to be very important to all of us, to the towns, to the counties, to the state, to everyone. Yeah. So hopefully that'll go through.
And I didn't mean to be glib or anything by saying, when you cut people off from unemployment, there are still people that need unemployment. I'm just saying that they will, they'll, that for the right reason or wrong reason, that will incentivize more people to get into work, but we still need a trained workforce. All of you in business know that we need that trained workforce. So certainly those training programs are something that we need to continue to invest in, and we will. And we're working with workforce development agencies, Clinton Community College, to try to do this. This has really just been, as you all know, just been a real big mess to deal with, and it's really affecting people's lives in a negative way. And my heart goes out to those businesses that can't resume business. And I'm sure each one of you have in your districts, and you hear from those businesses that can't start. And there's some real heartbreaking stories. I will touch upon another point. If you let me keep going, Mark, I'll go all night. But anyway, I will touch upon another.
I'm fascinated by all this stuff. You know that.
I'm sure. I will touch upon another point that we're hearing a lot about in my office as well, is the nursing home visits and people not being able to see their loved ones. I hear those stories. I'm on the phone. I'm on emails every day with those people, and it's really, really heartbreaking stuff. We've pushed and prodded and pushed the Department of Health and the governor to get us some guidelines so those people can have some relief. We can start visits back up in our correctional facilities. We can damn near figure out a way to do it in our nursing homes, so those people can be connected to their loved ones.
All right. Well, thank you. I had my question answered. Does anybody have anything else? Legislator Hall, I see you.
Thank you, Chairman. Billy, let me first start by saying I wish all politicians in the state level were as easy to get a hold of as you are. And when you say your door is always open, you're telling the truth. I never have a problem getting a hold of you, and I thank you so much for that. I think that's so important for our state officials. If they were all like you, it would be a lot easier life. I do have a question for you. Has there been any discussion? I am really concerned about Plattsburgh State starting back up and bringing all these students from all over the place into our community, in the stores and the shops and the restaurants. And I am really concerned that we're going to end up having a big pitch here in our COVID numbers, and for this governor to shut us down again. Has there been any talk about that?
There has, Bobby, and we actually we brought up this discussion today among my staff, and figuring out what Plattsburgh State's plan. I do believe, now don't quote me, and somebody out there maybe listening from Plattsburgh State, but I believe the numbers are down for enrollment for in-person enrollment at Plattsburgh State. I heard at one time 35 to 40%. I don't know if that's exactly true, but I know they're trying to put accommodations in for remote learning. There have been questions like that, and what the Department of Health says is they're monitoring it very well. They are making sure that their plans come in with social distancing in place and with this. I'm not as concerned as with the learning portion, the on-campus portion of it, I guess I should say. You know, maybe in the dormitory rooms, you know, that maybe I'm not as concerned as that, because I believe in our public officials and how they'll deal with that. What I am concerned about is, this isn't a knock on young people or people going to college. What I'm concerned about, listen, we were all that age at one time too. We didn't, you know, we didn't use the best judgment sometimes. Let's just say that. I'm more concerned about the off-campus activity. You know, the parties, the you know, the getting together, you know, and younger adults feel like they're bulletproof, for lack of a better term, and they just feel that they can you know, withstand this. The problem is, you know, that creates a bit of a spread when you get that, you know, that stuff. So I don't know if and I know the campus police cover the campus stuff. I don't, you know, I think we should have dialogue with the sheriff department and the Plattsburgh PD, and I'm sure they're and I know that people already have had that dialogue with them to make sure that we really have to keep an eye on that. We don't want to be you know, the old person get off my lawn person, but we have to look out for the safety of the community as well. So I think we really need to keep an eye on that, and there are discussions about it.
Thanks, Billy.
Bobby, but they just feel that, you know, they cover the on-campus part of it, and I know you've all heard that, and I know Mark's heard it, but that's a local enforcement issue. And that's the answers I get from DOH and from the governor's office as well. I don't know if that answered your question, but I think we really need to collaborate and work on that for some of this off-campus stuff.
Thanks, Billy.
Bob, if I could add, or Billy, if I could add before I go to Chris and Chris's question. We have met many times with President Inietti and President DePasquale at the college and SUNY Plattsburgh. I am pretty aware of the plans that Plattsburgh State has, as well as the community college. Using SUNY Plattsburgh as an example, Bob, there's about 5,000 students there normally. Obviously, there's going to be a dip in that. I can't tell you how much. But of those 5,000, 1,200 of those students are already here. So 1,200 of those 5,000 are already here. The plans that I've seen, the discussions I've had with President Inietti, the college is ready to go. They are prepared. They are addressing the issues not only on campus, but off campus. I won't go into the plan's 40 pages long, and I won't go into all that. But I feel pretty confident of the preparation that SUNY Plattsburgh has done. They too will have a combination of on-site and digital learning. The community college, the same. Their numbers will be down, but they've worked hard for a plan. So I understand the concerns, and we're certainly aware of them. I think John Canosa can address them as well. But they have worked hard, and they have worked hard to address not just on-campus activities, but off-campus as well.
Yeah, and I believe, Mark, are they doing the staggered move-in days too? I mean, yeah, because that can be hectic in itself. I'm sure we've all driven down those streets on move-in Saturday, and it's a madhouse. But I do believe they're trying everything in their ability, like Mark said, to make sure, you know, they try to abide by social distancing, try to have the kids mask up when
we do
they can.
We do, and we need to set the tone as a community, I believe. I mean, we can't be lax and then expect them to be to I guess, for lack of a better word, behave better than we do. We need to set an example as a community and expect them to follow that. And I know that the colleges agree with that. And it's a discussion we've had. So Hopefully they will come in here, hopefully that will open up, hopefully it will all be safe. It is more than a hope, they have a plan, so, I don't know. That's what I have on that topic.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, with a plan. Chris, you got a question? I'm sorry.
No worries. And I'll keep this brief. Assemblyman Jones, thank you. I do have to reflect what Bobby says about your availability. If I don't reach out to you, I certainly feel comfortable reaching out to Molly, and she is just fantastic to work with and has been since she's been on your team. So we really do appreciate that. So that's the first thing. Second, thank you for the work that you're doing with our nursing home. And it does get a little emotional for me because this is end of life care for a lot of these people. And without them getting haircuts, without them seeing their friends and families and loved ones, that's not a way, to live for a lot of these folks the last days of their lives. And it's just not fair. And I'd like to see something done about that, something that's equitable for them and for our community. I understand it's a very vulnerable population, but something needs to be done. And I think you believe that, and you have said, you have been a strong proponent for making sure that happens. I appreciate that. The challenge that I'm seeing in certainly in some circle of friends and business owners. I'm a downtown business owner here in Plattsburgh, and we have yoga studios and we have small boutique fitness studios. These are not large scale gyms. They're not chains. These are mom and pops, just like my coffee shop here. And so they want to know, like, when does it become a very specific case for them? They only have 12, 15 people that are allowed, that they can only fit in their studio comfortably, even with social distancing or not, but it's just a very small space. And they're kind of caught up in this whole, large scale gyms where gyms can't open, and they're just like us, or they pay their bills this way, and they've yet to be open. So any thoughts on that, any word on that, and what's your take, please?
No, and we ask for guidance. We're not asking when I put out something, or when we all work together on this, we're not asking, just to open it up. And is that Mr. Carnoza back there? I better, yeah. Okay. So he's probably going to disagree with a few things that I say, because no, but John's a great guy, and he's been great to work with. Your local health departments have done an excellent job during this whole thing. But when we push for something, we're not just saying open up willy-nilly and do this. We're saying give some of these businesses a chance to abide by the guidelines and to open up back up in a safe manner. And we've proven that our numbers are pretty darn good here in the North Country, and I don't like to say that a lot, because I'm somewhat superstitious, but we've been pretty good at doing this. So all I say to the governor's office or the Department of Health is give us some guidelines for some of these businesses. I just we went through the same thing when we pushed to get the mall opening, and Mark was there for the press conference. You could walk in an unnamed big box store, and people were walking in there, even when we were doing our press conference. I've never seen the parking lot so full. People were walking in there, but they couldn't walk in the other door to go to the Champlain Center North Mall, Pyramid, whatever we call it now. But it's just, I think that's the frustration with business owners and people, is that oftentimes they don't understand why the guidelines, or why it's not consistent. And all we're asking for is some consistency and some guidelines to do this. We're not asking them to open up willy-nilly and let everything go. We know that. We know that. Our business owners know that. We know that as a society. That normal is going to be a long time to come back. It really is. If it does, let's face it. But we continue to push for guidelines from state DOH and from the governor's office to give to these businesses, to help them out, to help them reopen, to do this. The problem we're having, and we're having it with the border on the federal administration side, on both sides, and with some of these guidelines or lack of guidelines, is the answer is no, and that's it. Can you elaborate on that? And I know some of the things were put out there about bowling alleys. I'll just take that for instance, because we did a presser on that a while back. The ventilation systems aren't as good as they want to see, or this isn't as good. But once again, it's a little screwy with the guidelines, because we had bowling alley owners out from all over upstate New York there, and if you serve alcohol and food, you can sit there and do that, but you can't walk like 10 feet away with your own equipment and roll the ball down the alley. So it's just, we need more consistency coming out of DOH, and we continue to push them for that every day, Chris. I promise you, every single day we're pushing them for that, to do everything in a safe manner, of course. So
yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Chris, if I could just add, what Billy said is that the control rooms are having the same conversation, exactly what Billy just said. We had this conversation 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon on gyms, on bowling alleys, and what are the guidelines? What are the guidelines? And right now, they haven't come back with any guidelines yet, but everybody I know is pressing to get this done, and we're doing the same.
Sure.
Before I let Billy go, are there... Oh,
I'm sorry. I think some of the frustration with that too, Mark, is that these businesses thought when Phase 4 went into effect that meant, an opening, and we all did too. Honestly, we all thought everybody was going to get their guidelines, and that would be an opening. We knew the larger, gatherings would not be in that, but I think it was the conception that everything would be. We'd have everything in place for Phase 4, and when that didn't happen, boy, it was really a blow to the gut of many of these businesses that
it was a surprise, and some of the frustration too is, like you mentioned it. They talk about the HVAC filters. Well, some of these bowling alleys have these filters installed. I'm not saying all do, but some do.
Yeah.
So if there were some guidelines that those that have those filters can open up, or those that do this, or those that do that. We could open them up, but right now it's nothing. It's nothing. That's where we're at. Any other questions for Billy? Well, we have him here. He's been with us a long time. We appreciate that very much, all your time.
The only thing I have to add to the program is ventilation with regard to schools. Why is it that a mall can change its ventilation and open, and a school can't? Just a question.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
You got me, and those are questions that are popping up, and we ask those as well. And I guess I got to go back to that's the consistency that we are looking at from state DOH, and I want to just say before I do go, Mark, thank you for all the work that you are all doing as well. I know it hasn't been easy. I know the state has put a lot of responsibility on our local governments to enforce these things, and I have to say it again. Our area has done a phenomenal job with this. It really has. I know people are frustrated, probably to a level of frustration that many of you with longer careers in this than I have, probably the frustration level that I have seen is right up here. I mean, it's, people are frustrated, and that's understandable. But thank you for all the work that you've done on the local level for making sure that our businesses are able to carry on in a safe manner, and to so they're able to provide those services. So thanks a lot.
Thank you,
for
sir.
trying.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
You're welcome to stay, Billy, if you want to see legislation in progress. I know you
Well,
don't get a lot of.
I might stay for a minute or two. I miss my old county days, so I might.
All right, you don't get to vote though. Not it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
And
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know that Patty Waldron is back online.
Oh, great. Well, that's good, Patty. And just in time too. So we're getting ready to start our regular business.
Welcome aboard,
Okay,
Patty.
thank you. Oh, yeah, now remember broadband out here in the hills, okay?
Oh, we're working on that. We're working on improving it. You know that. I know you are.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the July 22nd, 2020 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. May I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion by Rich Potiker. I have a second by Mr. Miguel. Thank you. Our meeting format, we will not be having a public comment this afternoon. However, members of the public are welcome to express their concerns or comments by emailing us at legislature@clintoncounty.gov. As we always do, we will now go to the committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 standing committees. Starting with Buildings and Grounds and Legislator Perrier.
The Building and Grounds Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, August 10th was canceled. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, September 14th at 4:30. End of report.
Thank you. Children and Family Services, Legislator Potiker.
Thank you, Chairman. The Children and Family Services Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, August 4th was canceled. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 1st at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Economic Development and County Operations, Legislator Rosenquist.
So the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met Tuesday, August 11th at 5 p.m. and discussed resolutions 446 through 452 on tonight's agenda. The Director of Real Property was present to discuss changes to the full assessment and assisted assessment services contracts. CTPT resumed limited services on August 3rd with North End, South End, and West End bus routes. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, September 8th at 5 p.m. and report.
Thank you. Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee met Wednesday, August 5th. Representatives from Lumsden and McCormick presented findings on the 2019 audit. The county received a clean audit for 2019. Kimberly Davis, the county treasurer, reported Clinton County was very fortunate to have been in such a good financial position prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. She stated August will provide a better indication of where the county stands. Sales tax receipts are behind $862,500 compared to the same time last year. Ms. Davis reported the county is down 36% in occupancy tax from the same time last year due to the pandemic. The committee also discussed Resolution 453, which is included on today's agenda. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd at 6:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Health, Legislator Waldron, are you with us still?
I'm still with you for the time being, so I'll do the recap. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee meeting met on August 4th at 4:30 p.m. Rochelle Gregory, the Director of Community Services, and John Canoza, the Director of Public Health, were present to discuss resolutions 454 through 460 on tonight's agenda. Our next meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, September 1st at 4:30 p.m. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Canoza to provide us with a brief update. Thank you. End of report.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. John's getting ready to join us right now.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I'll just give you a brief update on numbers. We're holding steady at 140 lab confirmed positive tests. We come up with a new result yesterday, but quite honestly, it's an old result. It's from July. We had a person who was a New York State resident who was testing back in July at at the border training facility out of New York State, federal institution. But because his home state is New York and Clinton County, it's his residency, he counts against us. But that person is recovered, and it occurred back in July. So we're up to 140. We've only come up really 2 additional cases this week. We currently have 135 of 140 people recovered, and we're sitting on 2 active cases right now, 2 people in isolation. Most of our work up till the end of last week was on school reopening plans, a little bit with SUNY Plattsburgh, Clinton Community College, but primarily with K through 12 school districts, local school districts, and working with CVES. We're still hoping, made several attempts to try to pull together parties from SUNY Plattsburgh, Clinton Community College, President Agneti, President DePasquale, as well as Dr. Davey from CVES to have a joint press conference where the health department would, of course, tag along and restate our messages that we've been working on throughout this crisis, including, the big messages are avoid big gatherings, maximize social distancing, wear a mask when you're out in public, wash your hands, the same messages we've been saying. Why am I going to repeat those? Because they have been working. We have, as Billy had mentioned, some of the best numbers. Not only in New York State are we the best, but across the United States. And we stand pat on that. I also recruited a little bit of help from Sheriff Favreau. He's going to help me try to rope in or wrangle up President Agneti and President DePasquale for that press conference. So they are starting school rather quickly. So time is drawing close. We want to get that press conference going. We are moving our contact tracers back from the happy dwelling they had up at the IM building at Clinton Community College. Thank you to Sheriff Favreau on the board of directors, as well as President DePasquale for allowing us to use that up there. One big room for all of our contact tracers, nurses, sheriff deputies to be in and to work on investigative work, contact tracing. So we're able to do it, move them back to the Clinton County Health Department, and hopefully we can keep their role small by having less cases or the same that we've had so far. The next big hurdle, of course, for us, as Billy Jones had mentioned, is the schools soon to be open, not only the colleges, SUNY Plattsburgh, Clinton Community, but K through 12. We also have rec programs starting up. We've been working very diligently with DSS and the Youth Bureau on their safety planning for the kids that after school is over during the day, there's youth soccer. My kids both played in that. So we want to make sure that they're doing it with maximum protection for the kids, the coaches, the parents, the whole 9 yards. We're also working on response to pause complaints right now. Eric Day is Central Command. He receives all pause complaints and he funnels them to either town, municipal zoning officers, environmental health and safety. Some I get, some he takes care of. We're working with Mike Cashman, town of Plattsburgh, on the mall. The mall's been good, but they've had some troubled tenants there that don't necessarily like to push the mask mandate, if you will, in the mall. So we're going to be meeting with him and hopefully mall representatives very soon. We're still having domestic travelers being tracked by our virtual contact tracing group out of Albany. Some of those travelers, they do not like being called at home to ask how they're doing, and to following up with us. So we're trying to work our way through it and get a hold of as many of those travelers as we can. Right now, out of 100 people, we're having problems with, let's say, 15%. Not too bad, 15 people. So we're getting the majority of them. But people don't like to be bothered and don't like to be bothered repeatedly. So, but it's our job to do it. We have to do it. The virtual contact tracers in Albany have to do it, and if they don't succeed, we have to do it. So it's like pulling teeth a little bit. Billy Jones had mentioned a couple of things that I would perhaps disagree with him. I couldn't agree with Billy Jones more on bowling alleys and gyms. I'm an engineer, I'm not a nurse. Nurses tend to be a lot more conservative than me. I can engineer anything. There's nothing I can't engineer to solve a problem. And if you can go bowling and leave every other lane open, wear a mask when you're not throwing the ball down the aisle, keep some spacing between you, there's no reason they couldn't open. If we can open schools, if we can allow visitation up at corrections facilities, we certainly could open gyms and bowling alleys with the conditions of protection that we've used everywhere else. I agree with Billy 100%. And I like Billy, like Mark Henry here. Some of my best fights have been with my big brothers at the state health department when I cannot get an answer from them. It's been like pulling teeth with those guys too. Just to let you know, Bobby Hall asked about concerns about SUNY Plattsburgh reopening. They have installed for the majority of their existing buildings new MERC 13 central filtration systems, as we learned during our last Path Forward committee. The police, campus police, are talking to city police as well as the sheriff on how to coordinate off-campus police visits for those parties. That's the big thing we're worried about right now. Because certainly on campus, the classes, we're not too worried about that. Dr. Agnetti, President Agnetti mentioned that face-to-face classes right now are going to be reduced to about 40% of what they used to be. 60% of the classes will be remote. That's a big change for SUNY Plattsburgh. And of course, enrollment is down. They're not going to be as populated as they were. So I think the one thing we can focus in our worry on is those off-campus parties. So that's all I have. If anybody's got any questions for me, I just tried to spit it out all really fast.
Thank you, John. Very much.
Thank you,
I
everybody.
think you've done a great job.
Busting some butt, that's for sure, sir. Busting butt, you know? Thank you, everybody.
John, I got a question for you. Do you have a plan in place for Clinton Correctional or Altona if they have an outbreak?
I can tell, no, the state won't let us touch those with a 10-foot pole. I'm just being honest. Those are state facilities. I can't touch them. The county jail, the plans are already in place. We're good there. But I do know that those state correctional facilities have their own plan, and we participate in conference every week. Clinton Correctional every week, Altona once in a while. We're in regular contact with them. Clinton Correctional's got a great batting record right now. They've only had one positive case, and that was in the beginning. I think they've had 200 negative test results for cases for their patients up there that have come in for testing. So they're doing great. They have a great plan. They're ready for it. And we have always told them we're here to help you, to assist whatever you need. But they make it very clear the state has jurisdiction over them. Don't worry about a health department. We got this. That's the message we get. Hey, come anyway. You know?
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Thanks, John. Next is Human Services, Legislator Conroy. Simon, Human Services? Yep. Are you on mute? Oh, okay, sorry.
Yep, we're Human Services Committee Wednesday, August 5th, and discuss resolutions 461 and 462 on today's agenda. Steve Bowman, the Director of the Veteran Services Agency, discussed operations during the pandemic, monthly statistics for March through July 2020 in VA healthcare. The new Plattsburgh VA outpatient clinic is now open, and a grand opening is scheduled for tomorrow, or for Thursday, August 13th at 1 p.m. Wendy Bishop, the nursing home administrator, provided the committee with COVID-19 updates, COVID-19 diagnostic testing and visitation at the nursing home. And the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd at 5:15. End of report.
Thank you very much, sir. Personnel Committee, I will provide that report. The Personnel Committee met Monday, August, and discussed 63 through 472 on today's agenda. The next Personnel Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, September 3rd at 4:00 p.m. That is the end of my report. We will move on to Plattsburgh International Airport and Legislator Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, August 26th at 4 p.m. And I will be getting with Mike to change that time because that's just before our regular meeting. So I will let the airport committee know as soon as possible when I talk to Mike. End of report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Legislator Castine.
The Public Safety Committee met Monday, August 3rd, and discussed resolutions 473 through 476 on today's agenda. As you are aware, the Public Safety Committee follows the monthly Personnel Committee meetings, which begin at 4 p.m. It is anticipated that for the remainder of the year, the Personnel Committee agendas will be fairly light. Therefore, the Public Safety Committee meetings will begin at 5 p.m. as opposed to 6 p.m. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, September 3rd at 5 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Transportation, Legislator McGill.
Yes. Transportation Committee met. Meeting was scheduled for Monday, August 10th. It was canceled. Committee was polled in resolutions 477 through 480 on the agenda today. The next meeting will be tentatively scheduled for Monday, September 14th at 5:15. End of report.
Thank you, Legislator McGill. Liaison reports, we'll run through those quickly. I know that some of them don't meet. For the Board of Health, I'll have that one. The next Board of Health meeting is August 17th at 7 p.m. That will be a regular meeting and a finance meeting as well. It will be held on the first floor here in the Government Center. Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Rosenquist.
I have no report for the Chamber of Commerce at this time.
Thank you. And Clinton Community College, Chris.
Yeah, we had our board meeting, the Board of Trustees meeting last week. Pretty much what folks have already outlined here about their plan for reopening. One thing that the Board of Trustees did want me to acknowledge was the work that the Health Department's been doing. It was a pleasure to have the Health Department at the college, and they're sending a check, a bill, I should say, for the elevator.
Okay. Thank you. Community Service Board, Legislator Conroy.
No report.
Thank you. Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
We meet August 18th.
Alrighty. We have nothing on discipline. We have nothing on agreements. Inter-County, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Inter-County met July 23rd in Washington County. We're at this point, it's all been public news, and we're still waiting for that last piece of the package to kind of, also, if you want me to move right on to LCLG, there will be some good news coming, although it's not ready for the press yet.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think I saw that. Thank you very much, Patty.
End of report.
Thank you. Soil and Water, Legislators Perrier or Timmons, and/or.
Next meeting will be August 20th.
All right. And Workforce Development Board, Legislator Rosenquist.
No report, sir.
All right, that takes care of our liaison reports, unless I missed something. Staff members, Jackie, do you have anything?
No, nothing this evening, sir.
Nothing? Okay, and Kim?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention quickly, as Billy mentioned, we still don't have any on this President's executive order, but we're still working closely with our unions to try to formulate some sort of second round of furloughs or a shared work program in the county for this year. But we're still, hopeful for this locally. Thank you.
Thank you. All I have to add quickly is hopefully this will be our last virtual meeting. We are hopeful that the next regular session will be held in the legislative chambers. We are working on maybe trying to get a call-in line for that as well. So keep your fingers crossed, and soon we will be coming out with our concrete plans, but hopefully this will be the last virtual meeting that we have. You'll be hearing more about that later. Go ahead. Who was that?
Patty,
That would be better, thank you.
it would be better.
It'd be way better, Patty, you're right. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendation of the committees. Ms. Kinblom, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Yes, of course. Resolution number 446, authorizing payment of membership dues, weights and measures.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution number 447, authorizing contract with North Country Association for the Visually Impaired Planning.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Perrier. Discussion.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 448, authorizing contract with Clinton Essex Franklin Library Systems Planning.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 449, authorizing contract with United Way of the Adirondack Region Planning.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 450, authorizing Census 2020 Complete Count Outreach Grant Amendment Planning.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 451, adopting retention and disposition schedule for Clinton County Legislature.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 452, awarding request for qualifications for engineering services Legislature.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist. Second, Legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 453 has been withdrawn. Resolution number 454, authorizing Adirondack Health Institute telehealth equipment grant application and acceptance, mental health and addiction services.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 455, authorizing contract amendment with Champlain Valley Family Center, mental health and addiction services.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator McGill. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 456, authorizing contract amendment with National Alliance for the Mentally Ill of Champlain Valley, mental health and addiction services.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 457, authorizing contract amendment with Behavioral Health Services North, mental health and addiction services.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator Con. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 458, authorizing COVID-19 response grant application and acceptance, Health Department.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator McGill. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 459, authorizing contract with Ruger Self-Storage Health Department.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 460, authorizing contract with Teletask Incorporated Health Department.
Motion, Legislator Waldron. Second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Resolution number 461, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit requests for proposals for personal care services, Office for the Aging.
It's carried. Francis threw me off my game. Motion, Legislator Conroy. Second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 462, authorizing contract with LabCorp Nursing Home.
Motion, Legislator Conroy. Second, Legislator Castine. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm looking at this and thinking that we could be pushing close to $100,000. Do we know if we got any CARES grant money to offset any of this?
Well, the short answer is no. We have a resolution. We've talked to Wendy about this. We're trying to find some various things that we can do. Right now, as it says, it's undetermined. We spoke with Wendy this afternoon to bring us up to date on that, and it is still undetermined. The problem is we have to do it. Now, I will tell you, I don't know what the answer to this is, but there has been some discussion. Maybe, Kim, did you talk to Wendy about the pooling of the testing?
I did. She mentioned that she gets the direction from the Department of Health, and they have not presented to her a pooling of the results.
As an option.
Yeah.
What we were talking about there's some talk, and don't listen to me on this because I am not a scientist, but there is some talk that if you have, say, 20 people in a department and you have to test them once a week, rather than doing 20 individual tests, you can do just 2 tests. You put 10 people in one test and 10 people in the separate test, and then you read the results, and if both of those tests are negative, then you know that none of those 20 people have it. Obviously, if one of them is positive, then somebody has it, and you have to test them. So some folks smarter than I are kicking that around as an attempt to save. Instead of having to do 20 tests, now you only have to do 2. The state's still kind of up in the air on where this money's going to come from, as are we. I can tell you that we are required to do it. It's not like we can say, well, we're not going to do it, so we need to pass this resolution to get that going and see where the funding is going to come from, Rob. It's the best answer I have for you right now. Oh, wait, Jackie has some further information.
Yeah, I would just like to remind you that both you and Wendy Bishop have been required to sign an attestation that you're complying with these requirements to keep the nursing home open.
That's right. Thank you very much, Jackie. And you all heard that, so yes. As I say, we have to pass this resolution to keep going, and I guess we'll wrangle over the money later.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything further on that? Okay. Did we do roll? No, that was discussion. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Thank you, Jackie, for reminding me of that.
Gary?
Carrie.
Resolution number 463, approve fill of a temporary full-time social welfare examiner, HEAP, position control number 2881, social services.
Maybe he's not as bad as I thought.
He's trained me well.
I know, I can see that. Motion, Legislator Castine. Second, Legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 464, moving back positions. Position number number 2886 and 3436. Social Services.
Motion Legislator Hall, second Legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 465, approving reclassification of a permanent full-time senior account clerk typist position down to a permanent full-time account clerk typist position with backfill. Position control number 3389, Probation Department.
Motion Legislator Rosenquist, second Legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 466, approving change in salary step placement of a vacant permanent full-time equipment and building mechanic position, position control number 3427, Solid Waste.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I hear a no.
Yeah, that's correct.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Okay. Carried.
Resolution number 467, approving backfill position control number 2871, nursing home.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 468, approving backfill of a permanent full-time motor equipment operator 2 position, position control number 2268, Highway Department.
Motion Legislator Hall, second Legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 469, approving backfill of a permanent full-time assistant public defender position, position control number 4181, Public Defender's Office.
Motion Legislator Timmons, second Legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 470, approving backfill of a permanent full-time account clerk typist, position control number 4170, Public Defender's Office.
Motion Legislator Timmons, second Legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 471, approving the creation of a permanent part-time senior typist position, Legislature.
Motion Legislator Rosenquist, second Legislator Castine. Discussion.
I just want to mention that when this was presented at the Personnel Committee, it was pending the approval of the IDA Board. They met on August 10th and did approve this part-time position to work for the IDA.
And as a caveat to the funding of this position, this is not funded through the county coffers. This is funded through the IDA themselves.
That's correct, Chris. Yep.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 472, approving the creation of a permanent full-time senior typist position, Legislature.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 473, authorizing payment of membership dues, Public Defender's Office.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call. Roll call.
Oh,
Yes.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Carried.
Resolution number 474, authorizing contract with St. Regis Mohawk Tribe, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator McGill. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 475, authorizing Adirondack Foundation application and acceptance, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion Legislator Castine, second Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 476, amending resolution number 388 dated June 24th, 2020, titled Authorizing New York State Office of Children and Family Services Grant Acceptance, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Legislator Castine. Second, Legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 477, authorizing contract amendment with First Transit, Inc., Transit Management of Clinton County Incorporated, Transit.
Motion, Legislator McGill. Second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 478, authorizing ongoing contract with Faculty Student Association at Clinton Community College. Public.
Nope. Second, Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 479, authorizing contract with Town and Country Bridge and Rail Highway Department.
Motion, Legislator McGill. Second, Legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Resolution number 480, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit bids for repair of the Pup Hill Road Bridge over the Saranac River. Bridge identification number 3335720, Highway Department.
Motion, Legislator McGill. Second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 481, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Workforce Investment Act grant, employment and training.
Motion, Legislator Timmons. Second, Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 482, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for 2020 Workforce Opportunity Act, various program grants, employment and training.
Motion, Legislator Timmons. Second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 483, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for Clinton County Employment and Training Administration, employment and training.
Motion, Legislator Timmons. Second, Legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Courier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried. Do we have anything else to discuss before I ask for a motion to adjourn? All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I have a motion by Calvin? I have a second by whom?
So moved.
Timmons. Oh, he beat you to it. Robbie's right on it. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, and
And thank you.
in a while.
Thank you.
Good
Good night.